One of the reasons I'm very reserved with displays of femininity, or displays of performative femininity, displays of my girly side, displays of anything that can be interpreted as, sexually expressive or open behavior in public. One of the reasons you would actually hardly see me do those things is because when I started to have my glow up, my late teens and things like that, I noticed that a lot of men, and women have talked about this consistently, would assume that if I accidentally make eye contact with them, it's because I want them and I'm begging for their attention and I'm begging for their validation of my, sexuality and femininity. And I would have men create entire scenarios in their heads about how I wanted to marry them, because I said hi to them on a random Tuesday as I was walking past. So I very quickly became incredibly reserved because the behavior from men was asinine. But what was most concerning to me was the immediate disrespect that follows these men assuming that I was trying to use normal human interactions as a way to get their attention, at which point they will become so disrespectful, become really entitled, cross my boundaries, and just begin to humiliate me from this position of thinking that because I wanted them, which I didn't, that gave them the free reign to treat me however in public. So I might actually make a few videos on this to elaborate. Now, this is a thing that still goes on because I noticed that with women who perform femininity particularly, and when we talk about performing femininity, this always involves performing a sort of girly childishness. Okay, that's what performing femininity means. And yes, men love it. They will flirt back with you and all of that shit. But there's a certain level of the men disrespecting, devaluing, debasing, and humiliating these women, which is why, although personally I still have a girly whimsy side to my personality, I don't share it with men, because most don't have the emotional intelligence to respond to it in a way that doesn't involve debasing you. So when you're a beautiful woman, people expect you, both men and women, to constantly perform this girly femininity. Now, when I do have this personality just on a regular basis, women clock it and they assume that I'm doing it for male validation. So they then start to overtly perform their own version in order to out desirability me. At which point I'm like, I don't give a fuck. Whereas men assume that if a woman is beautiful but she's not performing femininity, that means that she doesn't know that she's beautiful. So when I've made a video a few months ago where I talk about men are really good sociologists, they're only good sociologists when it comes to understanding conventional femininity and masculinity. Once they actually meet women who are individuals and autonomous beings, they don't know shit. Okay, they're ignorant as fuck. So essentially, to most heterosexual men, if a beautiful woman is not going around trying to constantly seduce men to prove her desirability, they fully believe that the job of a woman is to consistently prove her desirability. If you as a beautiful woman are not interested in that bullshit, they just assume that means that you don't know how beautiful you are. Or they start making up shit like, oh, she must not like men. Or she's a lesbian.